Who do you feel has more of a right to be in the top 75? Anthony Davis or Dwight Howard?
Dwight Howard. I believe Dwight Howard.
Why Dwight and not Anthony Davis?
I believe people forget what Dwight did earlier in his career, how he was the best big in the league. He won 3 straight Defensive Player of the Year. He constantly led the league in blocks and rebounds. He was a franchise player on the Eastern Conference Championship team that beat LeBron, that played in the finals. I mean, if you look at the numbers and his stats,
no cap,
his stats are better. I mean, his blocks, rebounds, all of those things, his accomplishments. People forget about what he did in Orlando, bro, and like what he did in Orlando and in Houston. Everything he did before his back was hurt. Before he hurt his back, it would have been a no question. Dwight Howard was a top 75 player. Like I don't understand that.
Okay,
and that's not taking away. That's not taking away from AD. That's just letting you know how great Dwight was. Like.
Absolutely, and that's why I appreciate your explanation, because it was more
as
so
a number one option
in talking highly of Dwight as opposed to talking shit about AD.
Yeah, I don't like when people do that. I don't like when people praise one dude and dog out another player. Right. I ain't gonna never do that, because Anthony Davis is special in his own right, but there was a clear difference when Dwight was the top player in his franchise versus when AD was the top player in his franchise. It was a difference. And that's an unbiased. AD was my teammate, so I know how special he was. But so, yeah.
So let me ask you though, what some people might argue against that and say that, well, Dwight had a better team when he was a number one option. Anthony Davis, what are you gonna say about?
And you know this, Cole, because everybody loves to talk about certain players. People were saying Devin Booker's not great, Zach LaVine's not great, and then it's just like the real ones that watch the game with their eyes and not box scores. You can tell when a player is just like missing a great team situation. So people will argue that, you know what, Anthony Davis really didn't have a great team situation compared to Dwight Howard. So that's what people are going to say when you compare those two.
Yeah, they can try to say that, but at the end of the day, AD did have some tough teams that he played for. There's no lie, but he also has some teams that kind of underachieved a little bit. And then Orlando wasn't really good before Dwight got there. They wasn't like elite like how they were when he was there. He helped build the franchise up. And then management made some moves to help him, obviously. But, I mean, Dwight got to Orlando, and guess what? Orlando significantly upgraded because of him. So
I think you make the same case for New Orleans. Obviously, they didn't make the finals the same way Dwight did, but
I think the real question on Theus wants to ask is, if you swap Anthony Davis and put him on that Orlando Magic team, do you think Anthony Davis could have led the Orlando Magic team to the NBA Finals? I think that's what Theus really wants.
Or also, what do you think Dwight would have done with the Pelicans?
Well, I'll say this. If Anthony Davis was with Orlando, they wouldn't have made some of the same moves because of his skill set. They made those moves for Dwight because of what Dwight brought. Dwight was an athletic freak. You know what I mean? That's what he was. He was a shot blocking, alley-oop threat, shut the whole paint down, physical freak. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He was a generational defensive talented player that also give you 20 points and 13 rebounds. You know what I mean? And so you wouldn't have made the same moves to your roster. But, if Dwight went to New Orleans, I mean, who knows? I mean, who knows? If you gave him some of those same players, Ryan Anderson, who was his teammate in Orlando, you saw what he did versus what he did in New Orleans. I mean, you don't know. Yeah, I mean, if you give him shooters like, I think part of it, man, I ain't gonna lie. I think Dwight could have did some good stuff in Orlando.
I think they both would have done well with, I think either organization. But one thing I always say about AD is, like, he's probably one of, like, maybe 4 players, I feel, in league history that could do every single thing on the basketball court. Like, every single thing. Like, protect the rim, even facilitate a little bit, shoot the 3, dribble,
that's a different argument,
score. Right. Of course.
Better than somebody, though.
Of course.
Skill set don't make, just because you can do 1,000 different things, I may only be able to do one thing, but that one thing might be more dominant than anything your 5 things to do. So I don't like to compare that. But AD
of course.
AD is a guy that can do everything. I mean, offensively, he can shoot the mid range. He's working on his 3-ball. He can rebound. He can defend. He can, obviously he got all the offensive, game. It's just a matter of putting it together. Like there's a difference between when you the A guy versus a support superstar. A superstar versus support superstar. Like Giannis is a superstar. He's a number one option superstar. You know what I mean? Like there's a bit of a difference. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Ahmad, make sure your sound's on for this. Just want to make sure you're hearing everything Norris is saying. That's all.
I mean that's true. But at the same time, we did see Anthony Davis in the NBA bubble. He was not just the best player on the Lakers, in my opinion. I thought he was the best player in the entire playoffs. So it's just kind of like, I get the whole, like, everybody's going to say he had LeBron, but to me, that entire playoffs.
No. Don't sugar past that. He had LeBron. Don't get that.
Thank you. Thank you. Stop saying LeBron's name like it's LeBron. It's LeBron James.
No.
Not for that entire run. I don't know, man. I don't know for the 2020 NBA playoffs, bro.
Listen.
I don't know, bro.
AD had a great bubble. AD had a great bubble. We're not going to downplay that, but listen, when you got that man, when you got the best player of this generation on your squad,
you're living more comfortable.
Way more comfortable.
It's way more comfortable, bro. It's the same. It's the kind of the same kind of like with the Kyrie thing. Like people think of Kyrie the way they think of him because of how he looked when he played with LeBron, and he did it on the highest stage. You don't get to that highest stage without that guy to showcase it,
And that's not taking anything away from Anthony Davis or Kyrie. You feel me? That's not. It's just that when you're playing with Bron, you're playing with Bron. So it's like, yo, that's cool. His numbers were nice. Like I'm not taking anything away from AD, but dog,
bro, when you play with those dudes,
LeBron James, come on.
Anytime you play with a superstar, and you play well, it's going to get even boosted up more. Like even if you're a role player, like me playing with LeBron and like Shane Battier and us playing with LeBron, we got even more credit probably than we deserve because we was on a high platform playing. Yeah. Like dudes that played for those Bulls teams with Jordan, we wouldn't think of them the same if they didn't play with Jordan. It's
Steve
what they
Kerr,
played with Jordan. So you can't take away from like, hey, look, so they played with him, so we can't take them away. But if you take Jordan off those teams, some of those guys, we wouldn't look at them the same. That's just a fact. That don't mean they wouldn't be stars, but the level of stardom would be a little different.
Yeah, that's real. I mean, it's a lot of situations. It's a lot of situations.
Don't never say, oh, don't say the LeBron thing. Like, no,
thank you. Thank you. This man said, yeah, I mean, he had LeBron. I mean, what are you talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
You're right. He had LeBron. That's a big ass difference.
That's just like
that's a huge difference.
Yeah, we had we had D-Wade, CB, and Ray Allen and all that. But I mean, we had LeBron a little bit, but no, bro, no.
Like that's valid.
That's valid.
That's a huge piece of the puzzle here.
That's valid.
That's a huge piece of the puzzle.
Yeah,
that's valid. If you take LeBron off the Lakers, man, the Lakers would be back to like what they were in New Orleans.
They are now.
The only reason I said that because I don't know. I think Giannis is a better player than Anthony Davis because he's more dominant. I think Anthony Davis is more skilled than Giannis. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like last year Giannis didn't have a favorable situation. And he won a championship. He did what he was supposed to do. But at the same time, if you looked at those conference finals and the Western Conference finals and you looked at those 4 teams, I was like, damn. And we got this recorded. I was like, damn, like Giannis should win a championship if he's who everybody says he is. And he did it. So shout outs to him. But let's not pretend like he didn't have a favorable situation. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, hey, listen, in order to win a championship, you have to be healthy. You have to have a lot of things going for you. But listen, bro, if I tell you, if you win back-to-back MVPs, Defensive Player of the Years, and Finals MVP, and then they told you a guy who never even won an MVP or Defensive Player of the Year that he has more skills than you, what would you look at? What would you say? You would be like,
I would say a lot of those awards are very situational if you break it down because the media runs a different game than people just actually watching basketball.
We comparing the two players that you just talked about, though. We're not talking about.
I can argue that Anthony Davis should have had a Defensive Player of the Year award over Giannis. I can argue that. The one that Giannis just won this past year, I can argue that Anthony Davis should have had that Defensive Player of the Year award.
Okay,
if you really
fine.
break things down.
Even if that's what you want to address with the whole media and the awards thing, at the end of the day, Giannis did score 50 in a closeout game. So,
of course.
So all the other stuff is opinion.
Of course.
And Giannis
did do that.
Giannis built up the Bucks. The Bucks was a nothing franchise as well, and Giannis built that franchise up. So like I don't think it's the conversation that can be had at this point. Like I don't think you can really. The pedigree right now is not something that you can talk about. I mean, maybe down the line, but I mean, the man got 2 MVPs and a Defensive Player of the Year and a Finals MVP. That's like Michael Jordan and Hakeem Olajuwon, the only ones in that conversation that's done that.
Real.
Like
that's real.
I mean, that's bruh. And a 50-piece in the finals.
Close out.
That's real.
Bruh.
Last game of the season.
That's crazy.